Thanks so much for joining today's session, How to Collaborate Effectively Using Sidebar and Microsoft Teams. This session is a live on ServiceNow webinar. It'll be posted at the link that I had shared in the chat earlier on the ServiceNow community. We're going to talk about how to supercharge your employee and agent experience by integrating ServiceNow Sidebar with Microsoft Teams. Let's get into it. Sorry, before we get into it, let's take a glance at the safe harbor statement. Safe harbor notice for forward-looking statements, indicating that anything we talk about today that is not currently generally available represents a plan and not a promise, and purchase decisions should not be made on features or capabilities that aren't currently generally available. Today's session is a part of the Live on ServiceNow, a curated event series designed to connect you with ServiceNow experts and peers that can help you to deploy your products and achieve value faster. We hope you'll join us again at another webinar or 360 Exchange or ServiceNow Academy event. You can see the schedule by scanning the QR code here on the screen or by using the link that we'll be dropping in the chat shortly. In terms of housekeeping, we'll be saving time at the end for Q&A. However, if you have a question in the meantime that you'd like to see an answer to, please put it in the Q&A feature here within the Zoom call. Today's presentation is being recorded and will be shared on the ServiceNow community at the link that has been provided. And after the event is over today, you'll see a survey pop up from Zoom with some questions. We really appreciate your feedback. Please let us know what you think about today's sessions, what you liked, what you didn't, and what else you might like to see us talk about. Now on to the topic. So this is how our session is going to flow today. We'll go through some quick introductions. I'll do a brief solution overview for the ServiceNow integration with Microsoft Teams and M365. Then we'll talk about how to collaborate between Sidebar and Teams. We'll get into a demonstration or two, and then have time at the end for Q&A. So with that said, I'm going to move on to introduce your speakers. My name's Jeff Fox. I'm the guy on the left. I'm a product manager, and I've been speaking up until now. I'm a product manager. I've been with ServiceNow just over 2 years, focused on the Microsoft integration, working across IT service management, also with other business units that integrate with ServiceNow, integrate between ServiceNow and Teams. Primarily our employee workflows group. I'm really pleased and grateful to have Sam Reddy join me today. She's an expert on Sidebar. Sam, you want to give a introduction for yourself, please?
Sure, Jeff. Hello, everyone. I'm Samyukta Reddy. I'm on ServiceNow platform team. I'm a product manager, and I manage agent chat, Sidebar, advanced work assignment, Gen AI summarization, which is related to chats, incidents, cases, etc.
Okay. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate that. And shoot, before we crack on, I wanted to launch our first poll question. If you guys could please let us know your thoughts on this question briefly. Sorry, I had the slide going. I'd like to understand at this point today, how do your agents collaborate on ServiceNow records, cases, incidents, etc.? Really looking to understand the baseline for how any collaboration on a ticket might occur. So please take a moment and let us know how it's done today at your organization. And the choices, as you can see, are that you would leverage Teams, but not have it be integrated with ServiceNow. See a lot of people, almost 60% do that. You could have Teams messages that are integrated with ServiceNow. You could have Sidebar messages that either integrated or not. So real curious to see how many people are using Sidebar today. And then there's some other way that you may run a chat. Please let us know what that could be. And then there's email and phone. So we've been going for a little bit, have north of 70% responses. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to end this and share with you So you can see we have 62% of people leverage Teams, but not integrated with ServiceNow in any way. 10% have Teams messages with ServiceNow, awesome. And 3% have Sidebar in play, that's great. 0 using Sidebar with Teams. So here's a great opportunity to learn about it today. Some other chat, 9% using other chat functionality, and then 14% on email, great. Okay, so really good information. Thank you guys for sharing. I'm going to go ahead and move into the solution overview part of the show here, and then we'll get into more depth on Sidebar and Microsoft Teams integration. But if you're not already aware of all the breadth and depth of functionality with the ServiceNow and Microsoft integration, really want to be able to share that with you. So it really started with answering the question, why do we have an integration between ServiceNow and Microsoft? And the answer comes from talking to customers. So many customers, when we, trying to stop sharing this poll, hope it didn't come back up. When we talk to customers, nearly everybody comes back and says that they have two key initiatives that they're trying to address. And it's really addressing the themes around being pressed for both better experiences and more efficiency internally. Most every customer considers this a mission critical objective. And it's critical because there's so many applications out there today that managing the multiple experiences within the enterprise environment becomes very difficult. Employees and agents have to wrestle between these different experiences across email, chats, portals, different applications. And it can create stress to swivel chair between these different applications for information or because they send notifications. It's stressful and it's inefficient. And in addition to that, navigating between so many locations really increases the likelihood that information may be missed altogether. And when you dig into the numbers, it's even more troubling. According to McKinsey, there's an estimated 20% of employee time that's lost searching for information to complete a task or a workflow. Harvard Business Review reports that 9% of time is lost trying to reorient to a task after visiting a new application. And Gartner indicates 43% of employees miss important information because they have too many applications open. Employees, agents, organizations shouldn't have to trouble like this. And that is why we have the integration between ServiceNow and Microsoft to improve the efficiency by seamlessly weaving ServiceNow and Microsoft experiences into a natural workspace. And when you can do this in a seamless manner, as we have, you get happier employees. It doesn't just feel like ServiceNow or Microsoft Teams. Productivity is increased because the integration between Teams and ServiceNow brings notifications, information, and action into a single place. And you're able to leverage the platform applications that the organization is really invested in. And good things just happen when you take world-class collaboration software and weave it directly into a world-class workflow software. So let's dig a little bit deeper into different stakeholders and how they benefit with the integration. And starting with the CIO, they want to be sure that they're maximizing their strategic investments that they've already made around efficiency, collaboration, and experience. The service owner wants to be able to alert employees to outages and quickly bring experts together on a Teams bridge to close a major incident quickly. Agents need to be able to reach out to employees or other experts in Teams from ServiceNow. And employees don't want to leave where they're spending the majority of their time working when it comes to requesting service, finding answers, providing information to an agent. This can all be done from Teams. Now, the integration between ServiceNow and Microsoft Teams and M365 is really broad. You can see that it does provide, I don't know if you can see it here, but it provides a supercharge to the service management function. It being based on the ServiceNow platform with these cornerstone integrations with Virtual Agent and Employee Center, and now with Now Assist being brought in, ServiceNow's generative AI offering. There is an incredible amount of value to be found driving the integration and making it available within your organization. You can see listed here to the side a lot of the capabilities that are available that from ServiceNow that integrate and can be surfaced within Teams and vice versa. And then from a subscription perspective, I do want to make it clear that pro or enterprise subscriptions are not required to leverage the integration. If you have a standard subscription, you can leverage the integration with Virtual Agent Lite if that's configured, as well as Employee Center. Sidebar integration as well would work with the standard subscription. So please want to make sure that that's clear amongst anybody who's interested. Finally, an integration hub subscription. I know it's included in the ServiceNow and Microsoft Teams integration, but an integration hub subscription is required. If you're not sure how if your subscription is today meets your needs, please work with your account team. We'll also be sharing a link during today's call regarding frequently asked questions around integrations between Integration Hub and frequently asked questions around the ServiceNow and Microsoft Teams integration, I should say. Also, I want to make mention that Sidebar rather is available in the ServiceNow Next experience only. Sidebar, if you didn't already know, is an alternate solution for the Connect Chat product that was in our legacy system. The Next experience does not support Connect products, so we ask that you consider moving to Sidebar to collaborate with other agents and subject matter experts within the Next experience. I hope that makes sense. And I'm going to move on here, and we'll talk a little bit more about the functionality that's been driven over the last more than a handful of releases between ServiceNow and Microsoft. We launched technically with our Paris release with the ability for agents to initiate a request-based chat with employees. Virtual Agent was also made available within Teams, as was our service portal. Soon after the soon after Employee Center came out, and Employee Center then integrated with Microsoft Teams. So we had this capability for requesters to have the ServiceNow app inside of Teams where they could access Virtual Agent and Employee Center. Service Operations Workspace then came out in San Diego, really provided a capability for service desk and operational teams to work together in the same workspace to drive greater efficiency. These products continue to add new features and receive investment from ServiceNow, and they've continued to develop more capabilities. We've been able to offer more through the integration with ServiceNow. So Employee Center today has a host of features that can be driven and integrate directly with Microsoft Teams. We've got Now Assist in Virtual Agent that is available within Microsoft Teams. And we had a session on that a couple of, I think it might have been last week. I'll get that in the chat here soon. In fact, I think I have it right here to drop in the chat. All right. And so we're continuing to see more of the investment from ServiceNow being available to use within Teams. And here's where we wind our way toward talking about how to collaborate within ServiceNow using Microsoft Teams. The request-based chat functionality launched at the beginning, and it allowed a fulfiller within ServiceNow to initiate a chat within Teams with a requester or another subject matter expert. And what happens is a Microsoft Teams conversation would be initiated, and all of the users would work within Teams. And so that fulfiller would have to go from ServiceNow into Teams to have the conversation. That conversation did get imported automatically. There's a lot of great features around it, but Sidebar launched recently, and I'd like to pass over to Sam to talk in more depth around Sidebar and its integration.
Sure. So we launched Sidebar in Tokyo as an alternate solution to connect chat in legacy ServiceNow instances. So if you're moving to Next Experience, please be aware that Next Experience does not support Connect products anymore. So as an alternate solution, look for Sidebar and install in your next experience to have your agents connect with other agents or subject matter experts or with your team's users directly from ServiceNow Sidebar discussions. Over to you, Jeff.
Thanks. Oh, we actually have a slide here if you want to touch on this as well.
Yes. So here is our roadmap, what we have delivered so far for Sidebar with Microsoft Teams integration. So the first basic one started in Utah. So we provided the integration with Microsoft Teams. And then in Vancouver, we have added more enhancements to it. Also in Vancouver for Sidebar, we have provided multiple discussions per record conversations so that your agent not only do one-on-one discussions, they can also activate multiple discussions with multiple participants within the same discussions. And we also improvised the activity stream in workspaces so that the agents can post any important messages, delete or make edits to the messages and have them in the activity streams. Now, in Washington, we have released some capabilities for the accessibility, which is our product platform. Along with that, for Sidebar, we have introduced the recommend experts capability, where an agent, when they start the Sidebar discussions, searching for the participants with respect to ML logic, it will show all the other agents who might have worked on the similar issue so that the agents can pick those agents or the subject matter experts into those Sidebar discussions before they look for the other users that they are aware to add to the discussions. This highly helps the agents to quickly understand the agents who has the knowledge to help them solve the issue faster than randomly just picking some users that they are aware or they feel like they know some information.
Okay. Thanks, Sam. Really appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead and transition over to the demo, right? We've talked a little bit about what Sidebar does, how it looks within ServiceNow. Let's see here. If you would, I'm going to start to show this with the inside of Microsoft Teams. So I'm going to share a little information in here around, I sent something around prior events, and specifically we did an event a couple of weeks ago around getting started with the integration between ServiceNow and Microsoft Teams. So over here is where we're going to go. So let's see, today's demo includes 3 participants. There's an employee named Eliza Gracely. I'm logged in today as Eliza right here. She's the requester and she's going to be based in Teams. We have an agent named David Liu. He's going to be in ServiceNow, and a subject matter expert by the name of Abel Tudor, who's going to be involved with Microsoft Teams. And Eliza's in trouble. She's dropped her company computer into the lake. Her bag and her phone wound up in the water, and we're going to see her create a case within Employee Center and Teams, and then we're going to address the case and leverage Sidebar with 3 different people. So I'm going to go ahead and move into ServiceNow for Teams application. This is the virtual agent chat. I'm going to move over into Employee Center. And if you're not already aware of Employee Center, please check out some of the other demos at the other that we've already shared, but there's a host of capabilities. This is actually a pretty stripped down version of Employee Center, but we can create an incident here. So I'm going to come in as Eliza, and I'm going to say, I dropped my laptop in a lake. Please, please and All right. We had a couple of search results that came up, but haven't seen much in the way of articles being suggested. But typically when you go to create a case, you'll get intelligent suggestions that may help, but this description didn't drive that. So you can see here within Employee Center, we've got a request set up. I'm going to go ahead and copy over this incident. But here, Eliza could come back in and make comments, add attachments, etc. So now we're going to bring in David. Hello, David. So David's logged in here. We are going to search this list of open incidents. And I'm just going to copy over this one. I think the crucial thing is to try to get us on a sidebar chat with Eliza. Okay, so David comes in and he reviews this case. He could get it in any number of ways. I'm just coming in to quickly assign to get him to pick it up on his own. I'm gonna go ahead and click assign to me on this case. So now David's got it. He sees that this poor requester has unfortunately lost her laptop and she needs a new one. He's gonna go ahead and initiate some contact with her. Click contact right here and start a sidebar discussion. You can see that the subject is already populated based on the content inside of the incident. Eliza's already there. He's just going to say, hi, Eliza. And start discussion. Now, David needs to be logged into Microsoft, which he now is. And we can see that a chat has shown up here within Teams for Eliza. So here we've got the same name of the discussion. I dropped my laptop. He says hi to Eliza. Eliza's able to say, hey, David, thanks so much. Amazing how quick these things happen inside of a demo. Okay, so we've got them going, and David's just going to ask her, do you want the same computer as before? Yes, if possible. Eliza responds, but I need something fast, so what about example? Okay. Quick, I'm having a little Zoom difficulty here. Okay. Okay, so that should say, let me loop in our text stop agent. He's going to come up here to the ellipse, look into the discussion info. He can find information about the case itself that this is based on, and he can see the participants and add a participant. Also has the option to leave. So he's going to loop in Able Tutor. You can see here in the Teams chat, David has added Able. All right, he says, hey, Able, whoops, that's the notification again. Here we have tutor. Okay, so Able's in Teams as well. Sorry, this is a little bit of a mess. We're going to go over to the chat. Able's able to see the history. Oh, by the way, I should mention she's Eliza. I know she's on a desktop. She's logged into her home computer. So normally she could do this via a phone as well through Teams Mobile. And so she's going to say, great, I'll be there first thing. Okay. So this is fantastic news. We're going to say bye now to Eliza. And David's going to come over here and close on this chat and go into the sidebar discussions section at the top here. And sorry, he was going to start a new sidebar discussion, not with Eliza, but with Abel. So just the two guys, thanks so much. And we see a new chat has come up, and you bet. Okay, so just goes to show the fact that David's able to contact people from ServiceNow to Microsoft Teams. He never has to leave. It's pretty straightforward. In addition, there's a capability to, I'm going to open this up for David now. He's going to go into the Collaborate panel. Here's another place where you could go to kick off a conversation as well, or you can look into the history here. We can see that this discussion has been created and it's here in Sidebar. We're now going to import the discussion itself into the case activity. So I'm going to go in and we could start a sidebar discussion this way. I'm going to move to import Microsoft Teams chat. And I'm going to list all these conversations. So here we had the original conversation between these two guys. We don't want that. But if you could imagine that there was actual useful information in the sidebar chat history, and imagine too that you had a generative AI tool, ServiceNow's Now Assist for ITSM, it would be able to crawl this content once we import it into the case. And so I'm going to hit import here, message successfully imported. I'm going to move over into details, and you can see as we go down, the actual content is here in the case activity. And if we did want to go ahead and leverage Now Assist, it would be included in the summary. So if you had a case that had technical information and potentially was something that would be useful to go into the case summary or resolution notes, that may be leveraged in this manner. We're working on the roadmap. We also have automated import of sidebar chats is on the roadmap, hopefully for later on this year. So I think that covers the first portion of the demo. And I had a video that we don't have to use. So here's a bunch of the documentation. I see in the chat, thanks to Scott and Sam for sharing most of these items already. We've got some sidebar product documentation. What you really need to download to get the sidebar feature is this Omni Experience Standard feature set. And thanks again, Scott, for putting that into the chat. In terms of install instructions, I highly recommend using this knowledge base article. So I'm going to start to put a few of these things in the chat here myself. It has all the information that you need. And so that's the second part of our demo. I'm going to step us through some of this content. So,
hey, Jeff, there was also a question. Is there a pre-existing demo set to show this?
Like a video, a pre-recorded video?
No, I think the question was more like on Demo Hub as an example. Is there a demo script, narrative, etc., and an existing downloadable demo?
Aha.
Jeff, I can take it.
Yes, thanks, Sam.
So as of now, we don't have. We prepared this demo very specific to this particular session. Since we saw the request, we will work with the Demo Hub team and see if we can have one demo available for the participants. But in case if participants wants to revisit this particular session, it will be recorded and posted in our ServiceNow community as well for your future reference.
Yeah, and I would add that part of the challenge obviously is that you have to have connectivity to Microsoft Teams. So in order to have a pre-existing demo set up with connectivity to Microsoft Teams, there'd have to be an account and so on. So there's going to need to be some work done there, I think. There is one other thing. There is an omni-channel experience, employee experience demo. It even includes Teams. It includes everything like virtual agent chat, etc.
Right. Thanks, Scott. So this is a good segue to go ahead and move into the second portion of the demo here. So I'm going to now bring up my admin. So we talked about the sidebar documentation. It's really crucial to just get sidebar set up, and all that is needed is to configure sidebar and start to use sidebar is here. As you go further in, I think within configuring sidebar, we have sidebar and teams, which we'll get to in a little bit. Here we have the Omni Experience feature set, right? So this is what you would need to search for and download. The KB article I talked about is right here, and this is what I want to spend a minute or two looking through. So the integration itself requires some work with the Microsoft admin, either your admin, Azure admin, or Teams admin, and the reason for that is you need to create an app in Azure. And sorry, I was signed in here. Let me do a quick sign in because the pictures will show up. But you need to create an application inside of the Azure tenant, and need a Microsoft admin to support that. So here we go. So in the tenant itself, we would need to set the application URI, which would be the callback to the ServiceNow instance, and then set these handful. I believe there's 21 different permissions required. So each of these permissions indicate an area where the integration would be working back and forth between ServiceNow and Microsoft. Thank you, guys. So that needs to be done. And then it's also crucial to make sure that there's a meter that's added to address the cost component. And there's instructions to a Microsoft document to do that here. So I want to take a moment and talk about a lot of common questions around the integration itself. And okay, so we've got this FAQ document. I just posted this to community today, and so we'll share it in the chat here. But want to highlight a handful of areas, right? Because we talked about an integration hub subscription is required. You can see the definition of an integration hub transaction here. Any outbound call originating from integration hub, flow designer, remote table, or orchestration. So obviously this, the Microsoft integration leverages integration hub transactions. There's different information around in here about how to find out how many transactions you're currently using, but I wanted to highlight around sidebar, this question number 3. Once you turn on the sidebar integration, it will initiate API calls every 30 minutes, plus a job that happens every 24 hours. This equates to a total of 72 integration hub transactions a day once you start, once the sidebar integration is active. So you may say, well, is that good or not? Want to share some more information, and sorry to speed through this, but when you put in the ServiceNow and Microsoft 365 integration, you automatically get an integration hub starter subscription. It has 100,000 integration hub transactions. Once you move up into the realm of a professional V2 or V3 license or an enterprise license, you move into the millions. And so it's a real calculation that your organization is going to need to get into to understand how many transactions per incident you maybe would expect. And that could help you set up who actually needs to have the integration turned on, if anyone. One other thing I wanted to point out here is this table that's got some of the common integration activities along with the transaction count for the integration hub, as well as Microsoft API transactions. And number 5 here talks about a ServiceNow record where a sidebar conversation is started up in between an agent and one person, and the user in sidebar responds 20 times and shares an attachment. This is going to trigger approximately 23 transactions, 2 to start up the chat, 20 based on the returns of the chat. Each of those is a call, and then one transaction for each attachment. And you can see as well the actual APIs that are called on the Microsoft side. So using Sidebar with on its own, it is a platform feature, doesn't have any additional cost, but the integration with Microsoft will start to tick up on the integration hub side. And I should mention Microsoft has also started to make some charges for their Graph API transactions. That's question 5 up here. So really want to make sure this is included in the documentation around the Sidebar integration as well. It's a great feature, and want to make sure that all the expectations are managed. Okay, so we've created this item in Azure. Now we need to create a Microsoft Teams app. And so to do that, we would go into Microsoft, and I can show some of this here. So let me go back real quick. I see some questions here. I think we're doing pretty good on time, guys, so we'll get to the questions here shortly. So this is my Microsoft tenant. I've created the Sidebar authentication app for Teams, is what I named it. The actual application client ID is here, and the tenant ID is here. I've set up authentication here. We looked at this on the screenshot earlier. This just goes to call back to the instance. And then from an API permission perspective, I went in and set up each of these different permissions and granted admin access, admin consent rather, for Microsoft. So that's how I set up this one side. On the Microsoft Teams side, this is where an application gets created. I believe anybody could technically do this, but would recommend that your admin does it. And I am logged in here as the admin. Yeah. So this is the developer portal. This is a tab on Teams typically, and we've created this one application here. It's got its own app ID, which we went and, as the instructions show in the documentation, I believe it's here. This has a scenario where somebody proposes this as a capability to the admin, but if if your admin can help you get this put together, they could just create the app on their own and upload it into the Teams admin console, which is what this is. And from here, the application we would need this app ID from the Microsoft admin, and it's been uploaded, so it's now available in Teams. This could be made available now to your users. And let's see, where is I going to go with this? So we went through the steps of creating the app. There's a handful of steps that need to be conducted here, but this is all within Teams and then proposed as an application to the admin. And once that's accepted, we copied over the app ID, and from there, we would enable or configure the Microsoft Teams app. So we go into conversational interfaces, and these links are all in the slide I was just sharing. So within conversational interfaces, we're going to go into settings. And here's where we are, right? This is a conversational interfaces page on the settings tab under Sidebar.
Jeff, sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
Can you please show how they can navigate from the ServiceNow product documentations? Because often I hear that common question that customers confused, like where to start with. So yeah, on the left side navigation, click on Integrate Sidebar and Microsoft Teams. Yep, click on that. So this will give you to see like where you can find the support KB article, the one that Jeff has explained just now, what all the steps that's been involved for the Microsoft integration, how to activate the Azure developer portal and the Teams. So you'll find all those informations here. So once this is done, then go to the next step on the left side menu, enable or configure the Microsoft Teams integration. And you have like further down steps like what you need to do from the conversational interface, which Jeff is going to show you what he's going to do as an admin in conversational interfaces. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thanks, Sam. So once we come in here, you need to be in the correct scope. I believe it's Omni Experience standard feature set scope. then you can make these updates. We'll view the configuration here, and this is where things come together, right? So we've got our app ID, D22. This comes from, I believe, within the Teams admin console. We've got this app ID D22. This is the app we created in Teams and had uploaded into the Teams admin center, and it's going to be available to other users now. The app ID and the directory tenant ID came from the Azure portal, where we had created this other app, and these items, it's right here. All right. And so once you create this app, it connects this back into ServiceNow, and we provided a client secret that came with this application within Microsoft Teams. And that's how we did the basic integration between Sidebar and Teams. And then we had to go in and do some permissions. And this is where you'll have control to indicate how many people will actually be able to use this capability. You can provide it to different groups, as is indicated here. So I've got a handful of groups, but I wanted to make sure that the users I was leveraging also had access. So I provided Abel, David, and Eliza access here as well. And once this is done, using the discuss button or this sidebar discussions tab at the top right, we'll be able to start to, after a refresh, begin to leverage sidebar. So I think that is what I had for today. And again, these links will be shared. Thank you guys so much for joining the call. I'm going to stop the recording here as well.